Okay, so good afternoon, and in continuation with yesterday's discussion that we have seen. So, yesterday we have seen about Sundarban, that what is happening in Sundarban, and we came to know that Dinanath is traveling from Brooklyn, is coming to Calcutta, Sundarban, and he gets to know about the story of Mansa Devi, yes, Mansa Devi and gun merchant. The story he comes to know from Nilima Bose. Nilima Bose is the narrator, and then he goes to visit the shrine, also where he finds the symbols there in the shrine. Also, the symbols is reading, and then he goes back to Brooklyn from there, and Brooklyn then. He gets a chance to visit Los Angeles, where Chinta is visiting from Italy. Pia is already there in Oregon at that time, and there are some wildfires in Los Angeles during that time. And this myth is in the mind, and some explanations are given by Chinta that what might be the story. And by the end of part one of the novel, many of the things regarding title is clear in our mind. That gun merchant, gun island has nothing to do with gun, but gun island must be Venice. It must be the name of Venice, which was in Arabic language was known as Al Banduki, or in the Byzantine language also it was known as the same sound, which was similar to the Indian word like banduk or bonduki in Bangla language. So this gun island is actually Venice now. That is clear. And the gun merchant is not the merchant who is dealing with guns, but he is a merchant who visited Venice. So that way, up till that, the things are clear in part one. That gun merchant, Banduki, Sodagar, is not the Sodagar or a merchant who is dealing with guns, but he is a merchant who might have visited Venice. So that is how we see it. It is not like the Merchant of Venice, not in that way, the Shakespearean play, but a merchant who visited Venice, the Indian merchant who visited Venice. Up till that, the title and the idea of gun is clear in the mind. But gun is taking us to Venice. That is the part two of the novel. Second part of the novel is located in Venice now. We have seen in the last part that Dinanath is invited by Chinta to visit Venice and see everything there, that you yourself can travel like the legendary Banduki Saudagar. But he says that my financial conditions are not good to travel and the thing. But then suddenly he gets a chance, a call from Jiza, who is a documentary maker, and tells that she is ready to pay some money for the documentary. She wants translator, the one who can translate from Bangla language. And there are so many Bangladeshi migrators are living in Venice, in Italy. So she is in need of that, and she can pay for airfare, for stay and lodging, as well as some money also for that is required. And then now he is going to Venice. So this part, second part of our novel, is dealing with this part here. Okay? Well, so let us see the things here. Let me just put this camera properly. And okay, so second part of our novel, which deals with Venice. The novel is divided in two parts, yes? And part one is the gun merchant title, and then there are subtopics there. Subtopics like Calcutta, Chinta, Tipu, the Shrine, Visions, Rani, Brooklyn, Wildfires, Los Angeles, and Gun Island. This is the list of the sub chapters in part one of the novel, which is known as Gun Merchant. The second part of the novel now, let us see here. It is part one was Gun Merchant, and part two is about Venice. Okay, so this now we have to explore. Now, what are these topics, subtopics in this, which will help us to have a flow in the story along with this? So we have the subtopic there. First is the ghetto. Yes, the first one is the ghetto there. Okay, then second one here is. There are many subtopics. Okay? Second is Rafi. Third one is strandings. Okay. Third one is strandings. Third is strandings. Then fourth is friends. Fifth is dreams. Dreams. Sixth subtopic in part number 2, warnings. Warnings. Seventh one is high water. High water. Eighth is crossing. Yeah, crossings. Ninth is winds. 10th is Leucenia. The Leucenia. 11 is sightings. And 12th, the last one is the storm. So this is how this second part is divided there around Venice. By and large, everything happens in Venice now. The location is in the Venice. And as we have seen, it gives us a very interesting opportunity to us to know something more about Venice, the city, the history there, and we get a very interesting verbal journey of the entire city also, along with the story that is moving on there. Okay, so we'll read some part of some pages also along with this. Now in Ghetto, the first part, what happens here? This part, second part, the Ghetto, begins itself is a very interesting paragraph. Very interesting paragraph it begins with, and it gives us a very curious comparison between Varanasi and Venice. Varanasi and Venice is compared there. Well, Varanasi has not much to do or nothing to do as such with this novel, but suddenly Dinanath remembers when he visits Venice, Varanasi also, and two paragraphs are written about this. So it goes like this, that there is a strange kinship. There is a strange kinship between Venice and Varanasi. કોઈ એક પ્રકારનું જોડાણ છે બંને વચ્ચે, કિનશિપ, એક સગપણ હોય એવું છે બંને શહેરો વચ્ચે. That has often been noted. Both cities are like portals in time. They are like portals in time. They seem to draw you into lost ways of life. If you are lost in something, then you go to these cities and you find your way in life. This is a spiritual journey, and if you are lost your path in a spiritual journey, then these cities help us to get our path in a right on a right track again. So that is, it says, and in both cities, as nowhere else in the world, you become aware of mortality. Everywhere you look, there is evidence of the enchantment of decay, of a kind of beauty that can only be revealed by long, slow fading. So, as if something is dying constantly. That one can see. Now, in Venice, also, we know it is known for the death ceremonies. Hindu believe in a death ceremony, Antim Sanskar, in Varanasi. Manikarnika Ghat is very well known for that, and we have referred to that in Revolution 2020, another novel that we have studied. It is set in Varanasi, and there is a passing reference to this kind of spirituality where the decay, the dead bodies dying, something is fading away, and there is a beauty in that, which is how it is connected there. Venice is a city which is fading away. Venice is a city which is dying away. Maybe in our lifetime we will see that now Venice is no more. Maybe in this lifetime perhaps we may see, because many predictions are coming that around 2050 there will be lots of high tides in the ocean, and many of these coastal areas will be submerged. Then Venice will be one of the cities in that capacity, unless we get some high end of technology to take care of this all spaces. The kinship of the two cities is nowhere more apparent than in Venice's Ghetto. So once you go to Ghetto, then you find much similarity to Venice, and that is because of the narrow streets. Varanasi, old Varanasi also has lots of narrow streets, and the people who live there, they keep on practicing their age-old traditions. They all have their own personal temples, lots of shivlings, Shiv temples in all those homes, and people keep on celebrating or worshipping in their own way, in their own homes also. So that again is a very interesting history of Varanasi. Recently, there were lots of talk and debate when this Kashi Vishwanath corridor was made, and so many homes were demolished, so many homes to make a large space for the corridor. And from so many homes, old temples were found, because that is a kind of a tradition that is there in Varanasi, and older part of Varanasi still lives that tradition also. The same thing it finds here. Dinanath says, when I visit Bindu Madhav temple, which is near Panchganga Ghat, he remembers that everything is very similar to what you see in the Ghetto in Venice also. So this is how this chapter begins with this comparison here. Then we come to know that in this chapter we find Lucia's story also. In this, when Dinanath is having a talk with Chinta, and then it refers to the backstory of Lucia also, which gets reflected here, which, as we have discussed earlier, Lucia is daughter of Chinta, who died in an accident with father, and but Chinta thinks that Lucia is very much alive. We will keep on using both the pronouns, Lucia or Lucia. So she is very much alive with her, and she keeps on believing that she is present every time with her. Then in this part we see about a reference to the goddess, that is this Mansa Devi reference, goddess that comes here, and the way the words are used about Mansa Devi, which are repeated again when it comes to Madonna. When the reference of Madonna comes, again the same language will be repeated, and it says that perhaps this Mansa Devi or Madonna, they are some kinds of mediators in between. Without her mediation, there could be no relationship between animal and human except hatred and aggression. So that is how it is read, that this all mythical gods and goddesses, they are somewhere coming in between our hatred towards each other. It is because of this that we do not hate and aggressively attack insects and other animal beings. Had there not been this connection with some kinds of divine power, we might have killed all these insects and animals like anything. That is what it says. And well, to a greater extent, we believe it is quite true. The way the serpents are connected with some kind of god, people don't kill serpents. Otherwise, people would have killed serpents so easily. But that connection is stopping people from killing serpents or snakes whenever they find, normally in the agrarian societies. So that reference, it comes here, that it refers there. And then suddenly in this place, when he is moving, when Dinanath is moving across there, suddenly he listened one sound, and that was that somebody suddenly shouted, Shabdan, that is Saudan, be careful, a Bengali word, Shabdan, the Bengali word somebody is shouting, and that is be careful. And then he is surprised that here in Venice, who is speaking Bangla? And then he found that suddenly something from a construction site, something fell just near his feet. Had he not been startled by the sound and stopped for a while, that object might have fallen on his head and maybe he might have died or seriously injured. But because of that sound, he stood and something fell. And then when he looks, he finds that some Bangla people are working on a construction site. Bangla people are working. They are all from Bangladesh, but speaking Bangla language, and they are working on a construction site, and they were speaking that language, Bangla language. And when he meets that person, he finds that he is Rafi. He is Rafi. This character, Rafi, is suddenly coming here. Now the links is getting connected. Rafi was one character from whom he got a part of a story, shred of a story, shred of Mansa Devi's story was known to him through Rafi. Now Rafi is there in Venice again, and he is working there on a construction site. And then from there, he is taken to the lady who is taking care of all these workers. That is Lubna Kala. Lubna Kala is a lady who is taking care of all the construction, the people working on construction sites. So when anybody wants the people, Majdoor, then they contact Lubna Kala. There is an office of Lubna Kala, and Lubna Kala Alam is again a Bangladeshi lady, and she is working there. So he goes to meet there, and then lots of things comes up that so many Bangladeshi people are living here, and they are doing all this menial task in Venice. The second part, obviously in this part we come to know about these people coming here, Bangla people, Lubna Kala, the backstory of Lubna Kala. Slightly we come to know about that. Later on, when he is again visiting that, he looks at the photograph, and more of why Lubna Kala is here. That story also comes here. Lubna Kala living in Bangladesh, there is flood again. So time and again, every time flood will come. That's why people are dislocated or displaced, floods. And when there are floods and they all are hanging on the trees to save their lives, obviously serpents will come. And then there are serpents also on the tree, and it was difficult time for them. They hardly survived from flood as well as serpents. And then she married Munir. And then they moved from different country to Venice, where they are. But Munir is now dead. He was somewhere in Sicily, and then he died. Later on, we come to know that Munir was an activist. He was working for the rights of the people who migrate from these poor countries, and maybe because of those dispute, he was killed by maybe the right wingers might have lynched or attacked him. In that way, Munir is killed. So Lubna Kala is living alone. She is a widow. But again, she has that streak of helping poor people. Helping poor people. Normally, the people who are coming from Bangladesh, Calcutta, West Bengal, and working there, and even many other countries also there. So that is the backstory of Lubna Khala and Munir. That also we come to know. Again, it is connected with snakes also and with floods also. Both the things are connected in the backstory of Lubna Khala and Munir there. Rafi, the another one now, the Rafi, the character which is introduced here, and this character, now Dinanath is going to meet him occasionally to talk about several things. And once when he is meeting Rafi, there is an encounter with spider, a sudden encounter with a spider, which is very shocking. So suddenly a spider comes there, and it is Rafi who has seen the spider, and quickly they remove the spider from the body, and where the spider has gone, nobody knows. So from where somewhere it came, and then it went off. The same spider is again seen in the room where Dinanath is staying in the apartment of Chinta. Chinta has gone for some seminar at different place. He is living all alone. But on the room, when he reaches at the home, on the laptop there was the spider again. But this time he has taken a photograph of a spider. He took a photograph of a spider and sent it to Pia. There was a message from Pia also. So when he sent a message to Pia, he also attached this photograph of spider also along with that, and he thought that if this attachment will display my fear for poisonous creatures, and if the other person will think that I am like that Banduki Sodagar, afraid of poisonous creature, and I have started believing in the myth of Mansa Devi, so he is putting several smileys after that. So as if that humorously he is sending. He is not serious about the photo, but is just sending humorously so that the other people do not get a sign that he is believing in the myth as reality, and sends to Pia, who has already sent one email regarding a couple of things which you will see later on. Piali Roy, as we know that she is much more rational in everything. She was a researcher in marine biology teaching in at Oregon. So she has sent that spider's photograph to his friend Larry. His friend Larry. He has sent that to Larry, and Larry is in USA here. Larry. His friend Larry, and Larry is the one who is studying spiders. He is studying spiders, and then the message came, and it was told like everything is rationalized through Pia. Everything is rationalized, scientifically observed through Pia. So on one side, Amitav Ghosh raises some kind of mysticism around the happenings. On the other side, there is a character within the narrative which rationalizes all those mysticism. And Larry informed that, well, these spiders are normally not found in this region there, but now because of global warming, many of these creatures are moving northwards. So it is possible that many of these spiders are found in this region. So it is not without a kind of a reason that these spiders may not be found there. But what is the reason? Global warming. So climate change, global warming comes as another theme in all kinds of justification that he is giving us here. Okay, so that is how this spider encounter comes there, and he talks about the things there in that context with Rafi, and the main concern was about Tipu. What happened to Tipu? Where is Tipu? Why Tipu is not with Rafi? That was the concern for both, for Pia also, and even for Dinanath here. strandings. In this stranding part, we come across the episodes of dolphins beaching, uh, and it is Pia's call, Pia interaction with those things there. So now in this part, he gets a call suddenly in the morning from Pia, and she seems to be worried. And then there is a talk with Dinanath and Piali Roy here, and she told that she has received an email uh, from Tipu, and it said that not from Tipu. Right now, we are not aware about that this is from Tipu. It seems to be from an unknown source, an email from an unknown source. Later on, the connection we get that it is Tipu who sent this email. This email tells that on this particular day, at the sunrise, early in the morning, a dozen of dolphins will beach, means they will commit suicide on this particular island. The name of the island in Sundarban is Garjantola. Garjantola. Garjantola Island. So there, this will be beaching. That is there, and now Pia is very much worried about this. That how somebody is sending this email, and who will be there? Will that person be a whistleblower who is working against a refinery which is there in that region, and because of refinery, the pollution in the rivers and the forest may increase, and many of these creatures may die. And this trust, which is run by Nilima Bose, Piali, and they were fighting against the refinery also. But the refinery people were smart enough to hide the pollution, and so they were not caught. So is this email by somebody working in the refinery? And was that person aware that on a particular day, midnight, early morning, some kinds of chemicals will be disposed of in the river, and that will be coming on the path where the dolphins are there, and so dolphins will beach themselves. Is that the reason? So they are trying to guess that what may be the reason that this email is coming. But again, we get another plot in a story, a subplot about how refineries or how these factories, industries are polluting rivers and natural environment, how they are also playing a vital role in polluting the things there. Well, it is a well-known fact, and this again is an episode which is repeated because in Revolution 2020 also, that it was the same episode for which Raghav was fighting. Raghav was fighting because the minister Shuklaji, and he was supposed to clean river Ganga, but then lots of pollution that was going in the river was not cleaned, and the money was being taken as a part of bribe and corruption by Shuklaji. So Raghav also is publishing those things in the newspaper, for which Shuklaji was in prison. For which Shuklaji was in the prison. So rivers being polluted and a kind of a corruption, political nexus, corporate world joining the hands, that is again an interesting theme of climate change. Whenever we look at big river like river Ganga or Sabarmati or any of these rivers, and if we find some kind of pollutions, one of the major source of pollution in the river is industrial wastage. Industrial, so lots of wastages that come out, and it is very costly to dispose of those wastage. The easy way out is the flowing rivers or samudra. You can easily throw the things out there. But all these chemicals, they never merge with nature. They never get disposed of. They keep on getting collected somewhere, and somewhere it damages some species, or the land is damaged. Either the land is damaged or some species are normally damaged by all this thing. So that is one of the grave concerns of this. The second is tourism. Whenever we visit hill stations, if we see that if you stay in a hotel, and so many people stay in hotel, and lots of wastage of human wastage which has to flow in the gutters, ultimately where these gutters are going. So whether it is our food or our excreta or whatever other things that we dispose of, plastics and chemicals and many other things, now that all also might be going into some kinds of rivulets and might be damaging the natural environment also. So lots of people and their habits of doing the things, and this industry. But industries is one of the biggest culprit in climate change. Industries are the biggest culprit in the entire climate change. Another thing, that episode we can see in this part is trending, where dolphins beaching, and that episode comes here. Then in Friends, we see about the Rafi story continues here again in this. Rafi is suddenly beaten up by somebody and he is hospitalized. Suddenly the news comes that Rafi is being beaten up and is hospitalized. So we connect this with this episode of Rafi, and we find that when Dinanath goes to meet Rafi and they encounter spider suddenly there, at that time Rafi was a hawker. Hawker means એક નાનકડી લારી રાખી અને કંઈક વસ્તુ વેચતો હતો. એટલે આ રીતનું કામ એ કરતા, નાના મોટા કામ જે હાથમાં આવે એ. And he was doing that at one place where they have a talk. Now when Dinanath is leaving, he found that there was somebody around Rafi. Somebody was wearing baseball cap, and that suspicious person was around Rafi. And when he goes off, he looks over the shoulder and he finds that that tall man is speaking with Rafi in a very aggressive tone. Now here we come to know that it is that person and the other people, they have beaten Rafi. Why is Rafi beaten and hospitalized remains a small secret for a while. And later on, from Balal we come to know that. Later on, it is Balal. Balal is another Bangla character, Bangla figure who works there for menial task in Venice, working all under Lubna Kala. All these people work under Lubna Kala. So when Dinanath goes to ask Lubna Kala, where is Rafi? Lubna Kala says he is hospitalized, and you better ask Balal about the things, what happened. Balal knows the things very well about those things there. And then Balal, when Dinanath meets Balal, we come to know again another story. And another story opens up, and that story is of Balal and Kabir. Story within stories. The characters have their own backstories. So again with Balal, we come to know about this. Now what happened with Rafi, that also we come to know. And we have a parallel pair, Rafi, Tipu, a pair of characters. Yes. Lecture puru karine avse. So there is a pair of this character. On one side there is Rafi and Tipu, and the another pair of characters is Balal and Kabir. This two pair we get to know. Minor characters, Bangla people who migrate from their poor condition into this country. Same story, similar kind of a story there. Now in both of their stories, we come to know in detail about human trafficking. Human trafficking. So the story of human trafficking is another theme here, which is opened up. Human trafficking. And we come to know that human trafficking, how it happens, and what kind of terrible condition they live. And it is no better, this condition of today, 21st century, of human beings and their trafficking is no better than the slaves or slave trade that used to happen in 17th century or in all those bygone ages. So we say that, well, those were terrible days for human beings, slave trade, and human beings are sold. Our merchant also is captured by pirates and then is sold in the market as a slave. That is connected here again, that our mythical hero, the Banduki Saudagar, also became a slave, went to the market of slave and was sold. But he was fortunate that he was being bought by Nakhuda Ilyas. Captain Ilyas is purchased by him, and Ilyas understood the skills of Banduki Saudagar, and so he kept him as a friend rather than as a slave. But that connection we see here, that what happened in 17th century when Banduki Saudagar might have traveled across this, or the slave history that we know, that is what is happening even today also. And by and large, the people are not aware about those things, that how this slave human trafficking happens. So obviously people spend lots of money for going from one to another, illegal migration from country to another one, but they have to suffer lots of atrocities. And what is the worst kind of a thing for these people is that they become a part of organ transplantation. So ultimately, this all gets rooted into that all these people, when you can't do anything and they don't have money enough to move from one to another place, then they are operated and their human organs are removed, they are killed and thrown, and those human organs are sold to super rich people. Obviously, super rich people will be able to buy all these human organs. We can't imagine that poor people will be able to do all these operations of heart transplant or kidney transplant or liver transplant and other kinds of a thing. It requires lots of money. And we have seen, if you remember, that when a small child is in need of some operation, what we do? We see people standing on the road. They are asking for alms. They are asking for donations from the people. Our governments are not ready to help these people. If the operation is of 1 crore or 2 crore rupees, it is not a costly affair for a government. Anybody from the government has to say that, well, healthcare should be free. Come here, don't go on the roads to ask for beak. We will pay for that. But that is not happening. That is a surprising thing. That's why that doesn't happen, because hospitalized is hugely privatized. And there is lots of cost involved in those private hospitalization, medical care, pharmaceutical industry, and everybody is looking for profit now. Everybody is looking for profit, as this time is a very good time for the pharmaceutical companies. People say that the Indians have eaten Dola tablet in such a large capacity that if you put those tablets, it will be Burj Khalifa. It will be as high as Burj Khalifa. That much of Dola tablets are eaten by so many Indians, and yet they suffer from corona. It is not that you are still saving yourself, but lots of medication that we are doing. Now in that all things, that who will be ultimately be able to pay the cost? The super rich people, which will obviously do that. So ultimately all these poor people and their organs are used by this. That is what the novel tries to tell us. That is what Balal and Rafi and Tipu's story tell us, that this is ultimate. And if you save from this, it is good. You are fortunate enough if you are able to save yourself from this fate that you are facing there. So that theme comes here: human trafficking and the organ transplantation thing. This he tells a story. He tells that to Dinanath that Rafi is beaten. Rafi is beaten because he has taken some loan from the people, and he has taken the loan money because he wanted to save Tipu. And then we come to know a part of a story that they both might have left Bangladesh together. They might be moving towards this in terrible condition. But then when they reached Turkey, Rafi was able to board a ship, but Tipu was not able to. So they were stranded apart in Turkey. And so Rafi reached Venice, but Tipu is still stranded in Egypt and Turkey. And now if you want to bring him out, you have to pay large amount of money. They said that they moved on with some $150 or $200, and then as soon as you reach at some place like near Pakistan border, they said give $50. If you pay $50, you will be crossing Pakistan to Afghanistan. Otherwise, you will be there. Now, if you are stranded on the border, either you will become a victim of the bullet of either Indian army or Pakistani army. and either of them will say that we have hunted down a terrorist. So their government will give them chakra and they will get some cash prize also. But maybe the terrorist was just migrating from somewhere. He was a poor guy. He was just migrating, but he was not able to run to cross the border. And one of the bullets hunted him down, and that person is given some chakra for killing a terrorist, who actually was not at all a terrorist also. We never know the stories that goes behind all these kinds of things that we get. So Turkey, where Rafi crosses, but Rafi is remembers that I should do something for Tipu. And in that story, Bilal tells, Dinanath is surprised, okay, well, once you save yourself, you don't worry about the people there. People are that તમે એક વખત બચી જાઓ પછી ક્યાં પાછળ જોવાના છે, કોણ પાછળ રહી ગયું છે. That is what even people like Dinanath has done. એ છટકીને અમેરિકા બ્રુકલિન પહોંચી ગયા, પછી પાછળ જોતા નથી. હવે પાછળના કોઈનું શું કરવું. પિયાલી જુએ છે, પિયાલી રોય ઇઝ વરીડ કે ફકીરનું મૃત્યુ થાય તો એમની વાઇફ, એમનો સન ટીપુ એમનું ધ્યાન રાખે. She is caring for that. So then Bilal tells a story of himself. Okay, he also has come from Bangladesh, and the same journey they have taken, terrible journey. And he was with Kabir. They both were friends, Kabir and Bilal there. And there were some family disputes back in Bangladesh, and we get to know the story of communal disharmony in Bangladesh, Hindu-Muslim riots and all those things also. That story also is vividly explained. So we come to know about the socio-religious fabric of Bangladesh also, that how people keep on fighting and how because of those strife, young people are leaving their country because of that. And Bilal and Kabir, they started running there, and in that story, Kabir is not able to make it. Kabir is not able to make it. Bilal can make it. Like the Tipu was not able to make it. Rafi can do that. And maybe Kabir is dead somewhere. There is no sign of Kabir anywhere. They were stranded in a boat. The boat capsized in an ocean. And Bilal tells that he barely survived. He was about to die, and somebody came and he saved. And he thought that Kabir also might be in the same boat. But then he searched for Kabir, but Kabir was found nowhere. So Bilal, who is earning very less money in Venice, but still he says that out of this money I keep around 40% with me, 30% I send to my family, and 30% to Kabir's family. So every month he sends around 30% of his income to Kabir's family, who is not able to make it with him when they both were running there. So that is the story of Bilal Kabir. And that makes that point that Rafi will do anything for Tipu. He will spend the last money, last pie, he will be ready to spend for Tipu, to see that Tipu also comes here. So what we get is a kind of a human face. We get a sort of a human face of this people who are migrating. Now, see, Bilal, Rafi, they are Muslims. And when Muslims migrate, the story that you will get is that don't allow them to come in your country, they will become terrorists. They will become member of sleeping cells. And somewhere our Canada Kumar will make a film about another sleeping cell people who might have migrated in blue boat, and a kind of a story that might have been told to us through our Bollywood cinema. And we also will believe that. Now this literature is telling us a story about a human face of these people. The Muslims who travel from this, they go and they are ready to sacrifice their everything for their fellow friends. That is the another side. So this novel gives us a human face to the people who are migrating, who are in a way demonized in popular media. Popular media, right-wing media, they are normally demonizing this migratory people, that if you allow them to come, there will be some kind of a strife. People will tell you a story with some historical data that wherever there are Muslims, there are problems. Where there are no Muslims, there are no problems. Those kinds of stories will be spread across, so that you don't allow Muslims to come into your country. Amitav Ghosh is giving a human face to all these identities which are as such being demonized in the another narratives. So that is the story that we come to know in Friends. In the Friends, we come to know about this story there. Dreams. In dreams, uh, here we come to know to a new character, that is Palash. Yes, Palash is Fazul Haq Chaudhary. Fazul Haq Chaudhary. Yes, Palash here. So Dinanath goes to the Lubna Khala's office. Lubna Khala's office, and Lubna Khala is not there, but there is another young fellow, that is Palash. And Palash's backstory also is very interesting. Again, the new character and a new story that comes there. Palash is again from Bangladesh, but he was a university student in Dhaka University. He was a student of management from university. So he was not like Rafi, Tipu, Bilal or Kabir. He was not like that they have run away from poverty in their country. But he was well settled. And he moved for a better opportunity to higher study, for a job. That way he has come here. But then things have not materialized as such for Palash. For him, he has not that much. So he is very much ashamed of going back to his family. That how will my parents look at me? So they were rather a middle class family, not very poor, not very rich, but a middle class family to which Palash is belonging to. And he is there, and then is asking, where is Lubna Khala? Lubna Khala, he tells, that has gone to meet some of the activists. And as the blue boat is coming there, and they want to save the people in the blue boat who are coming from these poor countries. So Lubna Khala is joining some things there. Some of the necessary things is being done by Lubna Khala there. So she is not there. And she is there to raise money to hire a boat. They want to hire a boat to go there. That boat will be, this will be the boat, the Louisiana, that will be is the name of a boat. This that they are trying to hire so that they can go and save the people there. There is also in the same part, there is a quest for Tipu also. The quest for Tipu is also there in this part, in the dreams. And it is in this part that there is a book exhibition also. So the book which we referred to, Hypnero Mekia, that book which we referred to, where there is again the reference of serpents and other thing, that exhibition and other thing also becomes a part of this chapter, where he moves on to find the exhibition that is going on there. Warnings. In warnings, this chapter is a very interesting chapter, warnings there. And here we find lots of this talk about possession, about being possessed by some Atma. Yes, that possession. In that sense, there is that talk there. And there is lots of this talk between Chinta and Dinanath, both of them. So now Piali told that the spider is there, so there is a scientific explanation for that. But Chinta still wants to give mystical interpretation, that well, if these things are happening, then there must be some kind of a signal for you. There is some kind of a thing that is going around you. So Dinanath is arguing with Chinta. All these lines from page 214. There's lots of debate that goes between Chinta and Dinanath about the things. Chinta tells that possession, the way we see possession, means you are under the grip of some other Atma or other thing. Well, let us not read it like that way, that you are possessed by something, means there are some other voices or some other people. But we can say that possession means awakening. So what we were understanding about the world so far, now we are awakening to new understanding of the world. So that is also being possessed by something. So that way they are debating about this very idea. whether gun merchant was possessed by this Devi, or is that happening to Dinanath also, where he is visualizing serpents everywhere, or how? So Dinanath obviously wants to give class લે છે એમ કહી દો ને. So he wants to see this, that a kind of a mystical interpretation Chinta wants to give about the things. Dinanath is in between. He is doubting the thing. Piyali is straightforward, on the rational side of everything. That there is always a scientific explanation of everything that one thinks of. So those debates are going on in this chapter, warning chapter here. So during this chapter itself, they both are walking across Venice, and they are moving towards that church which was built after the epidemic of 1629. The epidemic of 1629 is referred. They visit that place. So Madonna's church, the church of Salute, that all is referred here. And that is what Chinta gives as a proof also, that here in Venice also people believed in all these things. So even if there was a very famous university, Padova University, here where Galileo also studied, so it was the hub of scientific temperament, this. But still the people, that is the fathers of the city, means the people who are governing the city, people who are in the municipal corporations of the city, they all were educated in these universities. And yet they were ready to build a church in the name of good health. In the name of good health, they were able to believe. So that is what is Chinta's argument, that is given, that all these things also is some kind of reality there. So then from when they are walking across, this is the chapter where they walk across the streets of Venice. They move from one place to another place, from church. They go to art gallery and they observe the things in art gallery, book exhibition, everything. They move on to watch. And then it is almost evening time. And then Chinta says that, well, let me take you to a place where my grandfather used to do fishing. Her grandfather was a fisherman. And his uncle that is Ruggiero was the one who was still doing fishing, is there? And then where they used to go for fishing, let me take you to that place. So they move across little bit farther into waters on the other side to that place, which was a very lonely place. It was almost night now. The sirens of high tide were given. We are entering into this chapter, high water. So sirens are there in the city of high water. But still Chinta and Dinanath, almost in the early evening time, it is just getting dark, they move towards that place to show that this was the place where uncle, grandfather, they were doing fishing and other things there. And there when they were just around those wooden support that were there for this taxis and boats, water taxis and water boats. So they were just taking a kind of a support of one of the wooden plank there, and suddenly wooden plank broke, and this Chinta fell down and got injury in the foot, in the leg, in such a way that she is not able to walk. And then those waters are rising now. The water started rising slowly and steadily, and they are stranded there, and she is not able to walk. And then Dinanath suddenly observes in that wooden plank, that now this wooden plank has got this ship worm. Ship worm is being seen into this wooden plank, which is obviously a very dangerous sign, that this entire city is on wood. And if this shipworm gets a kind of a home, a new home in the wooden planks of the city, then the entire city will be eaten away. Which obviously allows us to read that how far for so many years woods deep in the water have sustained without being eroded, and how they might have lived. Because, and then we come to know that they are put into mud, and the way they are put into mud in such a way that there is no oxygen at all. And so the wood survived for so many years because oxygen is not reaching there. Now, if these worms can dig inside the mud and reach up to those woods, they will take the oxygen also with them. Now, it will be so harmful for the Venice city that it will be eaten away from inside. All these worms will multiply like anything, and they may eat away the entire foundation of Venice city also. Now, worms are also something which are not normally found there. But because of global warming, again the theme comes there, global warming, now all these kinds of insects and other things are moving into a different direction where they were not traveling earlier. Earlier they were not traveling, but now they are moving. Now see, we come to know that global warming is affecting in variety of ways. Global warming doesn't mean કે ગરમી વધી જશે. આપણે ગરમી વધી જશે, આપણે તો એસી લઈ લેશું, ગરમી વધી જશે તો 2-4 ટેમ્પરેચર વધે તો શું, તો એ તો કોઈને આપણને જે ગરમ પ્રદેશમાં ગરમી વધશે, ઠંડા પ્રદેશમાં બરફ વર્ષા વધશે. They will become much colder in that region. પાણીનું તળ વધી જશે. તો આ 3 પ્રકારના ડેમેજ દેખાય. પણ આ નાના નાના ડેમેજ આ રીતે મોસ્કિટોઝ ની જર્ની કરવું, સ્પાઈડરની જર્ની કરવી, જે જગ્યાએ આ પ્રકારના નાના મોટા ઇન્સેક્ટ્સ રહેતા નથી ત્યાં એ પહોંચવા માંડશે તો શું થશે? Then what will happen? That we do not visualize when we think of global warming and the movement and migration of all these lives, this all microbes, these lives, if they migrate in this way, then what will happen? Well, we can say that we live in an area, and if in our area where we are living for thousands of years, our genes, they have got immunity to fight with the surrounding. So in our area, if there is any kind of a bee or beetle, or as we call it, what we call it, this red color, કરડે તો એકદમ સોજી જાય. No, not agyo, but kandar. Kandar, yeah, you see that. Now if that bites us, so what happens to us? Like there is a swollenness and maybe 1 or 2 days mild pain, nothing else. But એમાં કે આપણે મરી ન જઈએ. We will survive because we can fight with that poison. Or ants, there are ants with a very bitter sting, but we can sustain those kinds of things. Now the people who has not lived with that, there if these insects will reach and if they will bite, they may die also. They may die because their body is not immune with those poisons. Other bodies are. So when these kinds of insects and other lives, they keep on migrating, what kind of damage it can give to human life, that still we are not visualizing. There are people who are studying all those things, but we are not taking their studies very seriously. They say that, well, this is happening and it will be terrible for us, but then we make fun of those people. Like we made fun of Lisa, who was entomologist, and told that there are these bark beetles, and bark beetles are eating forests. And if the forest અંદરથી ખોખલા થઈ ગયા હશે તો નાનકડી આગ લાગશે તો બહુ ફેલાઈ જશે. And that really happened. But Lisa was trolled by people. It was almost like witch hunting that happened there. There is a very interesting film recently released on Netflix. Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up. That film also speaks about the same thing. In that film, there is a plot that a PhD scholar of astronomy is suddenly seeing in the sky while studying that a comet is coming towards Earth of around 9-10 kilometers large. And if it will hit the Earth, then that will be the end of the Earth. Like it happened when dinosaurs vanished from the Earth. It was something like that. And she told to the supervisor, DiCaprio is playing a role of the supervisor, astronomer, and they went to meet President of America. Lady President is there, and they tell that this is happening, but well, people are making fun of the things. And then when they came on the television, then even the television anchors are making fun of that. And everybody started making meme of that lady who identified that. Lots of memes are made. she is demonized. That this is somebody who is anti-development, this is somebody who is Marxist, this is somebody who wants to frighten the people. All those names were given, and nobody was believing. And then the comet was visible slowly and steadily. And then they said that, well, let us attack. They make a plan to attack. And there comes one person who is running a mobile company, a mobile company and artificial intelligence and data and everything. And he told to the president that on this comet, there might be very useful minerals, which will be useful to us. We have to manufacture lot many things in China because they have the minerals we don't have. This is America. The setting is America. So he said that if we will preserve that comet on the earth by breaking the comet in the sky, then we can get so many minerals to make our computers, chips, mobile chips and everything. And president is happy with that idea. See, this capitalist mentality, Punjiwad, capitalist, that we can earn money from that. So they plan another thing. On one side, the scientists are wailing, crying, shouting, coming on television here, there, to tell that this is wrong. We have to do something, otherwise we won't remain alive. What are you going to do with minerals if we are not alive? But then these people go with that idea. They send drones to destroy the comet, but it fails. And then ultimately comet hits the earth. And everybody is dying here. But what happened during that? Why this name, Don't Look Up? So when they said that look up, that the comet is there, the political campaign run that don't look up. ઉપર જોવું તો મુસીબત છે ને, ઉપર જોવાનું જ નહીં. ઉપર જોનારા બધા દુશ્મનો છે આપણા, દેશદ્રોહીઓ છે. એ ઉપર જોવાનું, આપણે ઉપર જ નહીં જોવાનું, પણ એ આવવાનું તો આવવાનું છે. So that is what happens with climate change or with many other things, that there is this IT cells of political parties and the young people who without reading or going deep into those things easily believe and keep on forwarding those messages. So very interesting film, Don't Look Up, which is made, which speaks about this reality. Comet is a metaphor. Comet is a metaphor for climate change or any kind of anti-science temperament. Whenever a scientist tells something, they will always tell it in terms of doubt. કે શક્યતા છે કે આવું થાય, તો પેલા કે શક્યતા છે ને તો નહીં થાય. પણ સાયન્ટિસ્ટ તો જ્યારે એવિડન્સ પૂરેપૂરો હાથ બનાવે ત્યાં સુધી કે નહીં કે 100%, કે never, they will never say. So they will always put a doubt. But how people take the doubts of scientists? Normally there is anti-science or anti-scientific temperament widespread across the globe, including America also. That is why that film is made in America, which makes fun of the president of America also, and the political system, and the media also, the popular media, that all is made fun of. Here in India, if somebody dares to do that, to make fun of all these people who are believers in the myths of plastic surgery in the time of Shiv and Ganesh, or many other things, and the media, our media, Godi media, has lot many things to give us, so far as the satire of media is concerned. But if people make that, what might happen there also? But that's a very interesting film, which again gets connected with this climate change idea that is put here. So this shipworm and this thing in the high waters there. So the water is rising, it is almost to their neck, and suddenly again see chance and happenings, which is problematic in this narrative. Suddenly things happen. Balal is visible there. Suddenly, ક્યાંયથી Balal આવી ગયો. And then he is shouting to Balal, and Balal is sending a water taxi. Tells to somebody, I think ambulance, the water ambulance is sent, and then Chinta is taken to hospital because he was badly injured, and he comes back to his room. But suddenly Balal comes, and so they are saved in the high water here. So this is how Amitav Ghosh is incorporating this climate change or the things that happen because of climate change within the story. In crossings here, Rafi also is in that hospital where Chinta is there. So now they meet there, the story is meeting. Rafi also was in that hospital, and he tells the story about Tipu, the missing link into what happened to Tipu. Where is Tipu? Now here we come to know in this in hospital, Rafi tells everything about Tipu to Dinanath. This and then is that possibly Tipu is in the blue bot. He might also have been in the blue bot there. And here we again get one more mystical character here. In this, one more character we see here, and that is around this blue bot, this character here, and that is Ethiopian women, very tall women, women. Ethiopian women. For Rafi, she is like Farista. This women for Rafi is like Farista. Farista means angel. Angel Forista, Bangla Forista. This, but that is how this mystical women is coming into the narrative at this point here. Farista, yeah. Ethiopian, very tall Ethiopian women. Now, this women will keep on recurring, coming again and again in the narration, time and again, which obviously gives us a kind of an idea that when gun merchant was traveling, and when gun merchant told ultimately to Mansa Devi that I will become your devotee, save me from this, and then that gun merchant was protected by Mansa Devi. Perhaps in a similar way here, Tipu and all these people, they are being protected. They are protected by this Ethiopian women, tall Ethiopian women, which seems to be like an avatar of Mansa Devi here. So mystical, tall Ethiopian women coming as a Farista here. And Tipu seems to be on the blue bot that we come to know here. Next, winds. Winds has a hailstorm. So hailstorm in Venice. Kara no varsad, baraf na kara no varsad. So that was hailstorm, again another part of a climate change that comes here. And here, now everybody is planning to go to the blue boat. Everybody is planning. The boat is hired. Luciana is hired by Lubna Kala, and everybody is ready. So even Chinta is ready to come in a wheelchair. She wants to come in a wheelchair to see that. Jiza is there with the crew for the documentary making. Lubna Kala and the team, Palash and other people. And these people also, Dinanath and other, everybody is now moving towards blue boat in the ocean to save that. So then when they plan to go, there is a hailstorm there, and when there is a talk with this Chinta and Dinanath, Chinta tells that one more puzzle in your story of gun merchant is resolved, and that puzzle is about Shikul Dweep. That he went to Shikul Dweep, the island of chains. So what is that island of chains? Here we were seeing this island of chains. It is nothing but Sicily. So we are moving towards Sicily. We are also going towards that. And maybe the path that we are going to take, that was the path taken by the gun merchant also. And he also might have gone across Sicily, where, and in that ocean, there might be an attack of pirates. ત્યાં જ પાયરેટ્સનો એના ઉપર હુમલો થયો હશે અને ત્યાં જ એમને મનસા દેવી પ્રગટ થયા હશે અને એમણે અલ્ટિમેટલી મનસા દેવીને તાબે થવાનું નક્કી કર્યું હશે. ત્યાંથી એ પછી બચી શકે છે, પાયરેટ્સના હાથમાંથી એ બચી શકે છે અને એ ફરી પાછો સુંદરબન પહોંચી શકે છે. So that might have happened in that way. So that island of chains must be Sicily, where we are moving towards. પણ ગન મર્ચન્ટના એપિસોડમાં જો એ સિસિલી પાસે થયું હોય તો ત્યાં એક ચમત્કાર પણ થયો હતો. મિરેક્યુલસ ઇવેન્ટ હેપન્ડ. કે જેમાં સમુદ્રમાં કોઈ એવી આભા છવાઈ ગઈ હતી કે જેમાં મનસા દેવી હાજર હોય એવી એક આભા ઊભી થઈ હતી. So what was that we have seen in terms of this bioluminescence જેવી ઘટના જે પણ પાછી અત્યારે પણ બને છે. That is also happening now in this part also. So they move on in that direction, and while they are going there is on the way there is tornado. એમણે એક મગહીર નામની જગ્યા છે, ત્યાં જવું પડે, ત્યાંથી મોટી બોટમાં જવાનું છે, એટલે ત્યાં રોડ ઉપર જઈ રહ્યા છે. They are going on a road, and hired taxi they are moving, and when they are going on the road suddenly there is a tornado, and because of tornado they were able to save their life, but there is the tree is falling on the path, and it may happen that they may not reach on time to board the ship. Lusania ship, they may not be able to board if it is late there. And then suddenly something happens there. Suddenly something happens that there is a fallen tree, there is no way to move, it is all stormy weather, and suddenly somebody is coming, jumping over a tree, and tells that there is another shortcut here. You better go from this shortcut. And when the driver tries to talk with that person, tries to say that thank you to you for this, by the time he has already gone, and he has almost become invisible. અચાનક એ અદ્રશ્ય થઈ જાય છે. ચિંતા tells that you are protected by your બંદૂકી સોદાગર, and he was બંદૂકી સોદાગર. આ એ જ હતો કે એ જે તારી સુરક્ષા કરે છે, તારું ध्यान રાખે, તારી આજુબાજુ છે. He was nobody else than બંદૂકી સોદાગર. Right, but then people say, driver and other people, they say that here there are many Moroccan people, Moroccan, African, black people, there are many who dress up like this and this. So it may be somebody who is a local person who came as a migrant. So see that mysticism and a kind of a rationality, how that is put together by Amitav Ghosh in that episode also. As they move on towards this, they reach to the ship here, Lusania. And now here, all of them are together there. All the group of people together, Pia, Chinta, Dinanath, Lubna Kala, they all are going towards that ship, and it's a beautiful weather. There are various dolphins and whale and other also swim across the thing, and they move and they keep on talking about variety of things there. One of the talks between Pia and Dinanath, it opens up to the backstory, and it tells that she remembers the episode of Fakir, that when she was on research in Sundarban and Fakir died, and that episode was very hurtful to her also. But Tipu was a little kid, and Tipu was never able to pardon her because of that. In the mind of Tipu, there was always that anxiety, that kind of animosity towards Pia, for which he lost father. That Pia tells to Dinanath, and it is always sensed by Pia that Tipu is always having a curious kind of a behavior with Pia, and always tries to blame Pia for the death of the father. So Pia told that she realized that, and she tried to do everything that is possible for her to help that family, to help Tipu, and today also for Tipu she will do anything to save Tipu from the blue boat. She will be ready to do anything for that. And then here again in this part we find that Jiza now is listening the voice of somebody, and that voice Chinta says is of Lucia, the daughter, and Jiza also thought that in this boat there was Lucia somewhere. The voice is heard very clearly about the thing, and tells to Chinta, and Chinta is very much convinced that Lucia is very much alive with us as a ghost. As a ghost, she is very much with them on the boat also. Sightings, in sightings, as the things are moving on, they sight beautiful whale, dolphins, they are swimming across the path. So lots of those creatures are coming together. Those flying birds are there, different species. 4 or 5 species of whales and dolphins are visible on the path as they are moving. All are moving in one direction. So it means that they all are getting ready for bioluminescence. For that, all these species are getting ready there. Uh, And this here is the reference of right wingers. The right wingers are anti-blue bot. They want to. They don't want the people on blue bot to come to Italy. So that becomes a part here. Again, there is a reference of Ethiopian women, and in the far sighted bot, that women is very clearly visible. That tall Ethiopian women is very clearly visible on the bot from far off distance also. And then the government of Italy, they have sent one admiral with the fleet of helicopters also at this place. And obviously, it was sent to see that these protectors, these human rights activists, they do not bring people from Blue Bot back to Italy. For that, admiral and they are also sent. Now, this admiral who was there, Admiral, I think we have mentioned it somewhere. Admiral Vigonova. Admiral Vigonova is also there. And it was believed that they are going to work for government. They will not allow the people in the blue boat to come back there. But Chinta told that, well, I know him. I know him from quite a long time, and he is a good man at heart. Is a good man at heart. So now it means that at the last moment there will be change of heart. There will be change of heart, which obviously happens when there is divinity playing a vital role, and suddenly changes the hearts of the people also. So this that happens there. And here again we get a backstory of Palash also, where he tells a lot many things about how he traveled and what happened and other things. And this part of the interaction between Palash and Dinanath is a very interesting part. It is coming on page 265 and 267, 266, 265, 266. On this page, this interaction between Palash and Dina. This interaction is again a very interesting interaction, because it tries to tell us that why do people migrate, why do people move on. So Dinanath says that in our days there were no mobile phones. Today there are mobile phones, and what is mobile phone doing? Mobile phone gives us a photograph of a beautiful world, and so we all are attracted towards that beautiful world. We think that people in Europe are very happy, people in America are very happy. So I see a photograph of somebody has gone there. When they share a photograph, it is always about happiness. And because of this visuals, this media, lots of video, images, many people who are watching this are getting hungry to go to all this world, where obviously they are not happy as such. It is not they are not going to be happy, but still this is attracting them. And he says in our days there were no mobile phones, but there were books. So we were reading books, and from books we were dreaming to go to this world. So Dinanath says, if I traveled from my place to America, it was reading books. So books were also making you hungry. Books were also making you see the world beyond your horizon. And after reading the books, you traveled across the another world. Today, everybody is traveling. Those who got a mobile phone technology, they see, and everybody wants to move on. A very interesting difference is there, that when you were reading books and doing that, there was a kind of an academic exodus, academic movement was there. Whereas now through mobile phone, anybody is dreaming to do that, anybody, and they don't deserve, or they do not have that capacity to move on. So what kind of life ultimately they have to live? Not a well settled life, but a life of a menial task, life of insults in different capacities, And once you are insulted as a secondary citizen, as a third-rate citizen, what you will do, you will become angry, you will become violent, and you will do something wrong. And you will give easy chance for other people to tell that we told you that these are bad people. Don't give entry to these people. That is easily going to happen. Those narratives are not surprising narrative, because those people are living as a third-rate citizens, completely being insulted in variety of ways. So some of them will be aggressive, and they will react in a violent manner, and that will give a chance to everybody to say or go back to the stereotypical narration about the migratory people, that outsiders are outsiders, don't allow them to come inside. And that is what keeps on happening time and again. So that's an interesting discussion between Palash and Dinanath that we can see there. And then that part there, and the last part, we have a reference to the attack of pirate. Pirates attacked the journey of gun merchant. Almost similar way, at a similar place now, the blue boat is being attacked by right-wingers now. So in a way, right-wingers are like pirates who are attacking and not allowing the people to come. And these people, the people who are the activist people, human rights people, and then suddenly there is a change of heart of Admiral Vigonova, and he told that, well, I got a kind of a signal, and I think that I should support these people. So he suddenly changes. The other people are shouting that this is treason. हमने राजद्रोह કર્યો છે, हमने દગો કર્યો છે, Admiral આવું ન કરી શકે. But he is supporting the people to come there. Almost at the same time, there is a kind of halo. Birds, કેટલા બધા birds આવે છે અચાનક, અને birds ઉપર blue boat ઉપર એ રીતે ઉડતા હોય કે જાણે પેલી ઇથોપિયન લેડી, અને એનું ઉપર મોટો હેલો બનાવી દીધો હોય. કોઈ એનું ઓજસ હોય, કોઈ હેલો હોય, એવું એક ચિત્ર ઊભું થઈ જાય છે. ને Ethiopian lady in a blue boat, and there are so many birds circling around that place there. And then suddenly at that place, last moment, ત્યાં પેલું bioluminescence થાય છે. Bioluminescence એકદમ ચમત્કાર જેવો પ્રકાશ નીકળી પડે છે અચાનક, અને જે ન સમજે ને એમ જ લાગે કે અહીંયા કોઈ દેવી ચેતના છે. In the blue boat કોઈ છે દેવી ચેતના, એટલે જ એના પ્રકાશ થાય છે. Pia tells that this is bioluminous. Dino is arguing, but do you think it should happen here? Pia says it is surprising. Surprising છે કે અત્યારે આવું થાય, પણ ન થાય એવું પણ નથી. થઈ શકે. There is always a scientific explanation to why such kind of a thing happens there. So again, we come across these two arguments, that there is a mystical way of looking at the thing, and then there is the scientific explanation of the thing, that also we can see there. And then the people are saved in a blue boat. લોકોને બચાવી લેવામાં આવે છે તેની અંદર. અને પછી when again suddenly in the last part, Dinanath is looking for Chinta, that where is she, and then she goes and she was in her cabin, અને એ cabinમાં હતી, અને as if she was talking with somebody, અને આ પૂછે તો કે મારી daughter મારા ભેગી છે અહીંયા. Lucia, my daughter is with me here, that is what she tells. And then says that now it is my time to die. હવે મારો મૃત્યુનો સમય આવી ગયો છે, મારી daughter મને લેવા આવી છે. And then she dies. So it is something like ichha mrityu, the concept of ichha mrityu, that ultimately at your will you die. And Chinta dies in the boat at her will, in that way that now it is my time to live. Well, again we may say that there is no clear-cut explanation why she should do that, why she should think that now her time has come to die, or, well, those things are not explained as such. Or had there been something given that when she met with an accident, she got some serious injury, and she may die anytime if she will travel, but there is nothing like that also. There is nothing like that may happen, but just like that she dies. In one of the interviews, Amitav Ghosh told that, well, we have a concept of ichha mrityu. So, well, that is there. That is there in the novel, that people can die at their will if they want to. Dolphins can beach themselves. Dolphins can die at their will. Humans can also die at their will. That is how, very abruptly, in that way, so far as Chinta's life is concerned, the novel ends, and these migratory people are said also. So that is how this narration in second part that moves on. So up till last moment we come to know that what might have happened to gun merchant, which he thinks mystical and the power of this Devi, Mansa Devi, might be a real story. That might be a real story that might have really happened. He might have traveled from Sundarban to Venice and back home. That might have happened, and he might have experienced all these kinds of mysterious experiences about snakes and spiders also, which is happening here also, and even bioluminescence might have also happened in his journey also. So that is how Amitav Ghosh tells this story. This novel is this a very long second part there where all these explanations are given here. Okay, let me end this here.